AMG family, Mondo here. Hey, just wanted to make sure real quick before we get started that you guys have subscribed to the AMG podcast channel. Go below if you can't see it, look a little, scroll down, whatever you got to do. Hit that subscribe button. It helps us immensely here at the AMG podcast. The second thing we need you to do is turn on your notifications. That way, anytime we drop new content, you are the first to be notified. That way we can grow together. We can learn in life together and do life together. All right. So with that said, let's get to it. All right, guys, so let's dig into it. Today, we're going to talk about IULs, Index Universal Life Policies. I've got my notes over here. We're going to go over a couple things that's going to help us guide our conversation. All right, so there's some misconceptions about Index Universal Life Policies. There's some phenomenal teachers out there on these policies and how they operate. There are some people that love them. There are some people that hate them. We're not getting to that conversation. That's going to be another video. But we're going to talk today about 3 misconceptions for those who are interested in IULs, right? You're looking to acquire one. But there's 3 misconceptions I see that are common. I hear it quite a bit, right? So we're going to talk about those real quick. All right, the first one. All right, the first misconception about IULs for those who are interested in getting one. All right. Number 1 is that any amount of funding will build wealth, will lead to wealth. Any amount of funding. So whether that's $100 a month or $10,000 a month or $100,000 a year or $250 a year, there's a misconception of that right there. Okay, so I've heard people say, well, yeah, you could build wealth, you could do this, that. And then we talk about it and say, yeah, I'm ready to get on this wealth train, man. I'm ready to do this. I'm blah, 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 blah. And it's okay, cool. So we could do our process, get to it. We're like, we'll talk about funding. So, all right, I'm thinking about $120 a month. Okay. So we got to backpedal a little bit. Okay. So now you can get an IUL and it can function, built, structured the right way. Okay. For you and your family with the proper intent of use, right? You got to make sure that's going to be used the right way. Okay. With right strategy, you can get one. However, it's going to take a hot minute to build wealth on $120 a month. Wealth, right? You're talking about drawing, tax-free retirement in your golden years, and you're looking at, this, that, and the other down. It's going to take a minute, okay? Especially if you're like, 40 years old and you're getting an IUL, it's going to be a while. If you're a kid, if you're getting a policy in your child who's 3, 2, 1, whatever, and doing that, you got a better chance. But it can really, start to accumulate some serious coin over the years. However, that's not going to cut the mustard in most cases. Okay, so that is one misconception that I see quite a bit, is that any amount of funding will lead to wealth in an IUL. Now, why does that happen, though? Let's talk about that. So I believe that a lot of times people are doing their research, which is great, and they're looking on YouTube, and they're having conversations personally, whatever, and they're getting this information, and there's certain words that, keywords that pop out. Makes sense. Wealth. Cash accumulation, those 2 words. And, it's whatever it is, like you have access, and all these different things. But we don't talk about all the intricacies of the IUL, how it needs to be structured, how it needs to be funded properly in order to acquire those key words that you just heard that made you interested. Okay. And that's where a proper advisor or insurance agent can help you and walk you through what that means. Okay. Now I'm gonna talk in another video about not everyone knows how to structure them. Okay. And I see it quite a bit, but that's a soapbox I don't want to get on right now. But you want to make sure that if you're looking at getting an IUL, that we have proper expectations. Okay. It can work if you have the proper funding, right? And a proper structure and a proper intent of use. That's yes, it can build to wealth. However, you have to have some gasoline on that bad boy. You know what I mean? You can't expect to say, hey, I'm going to drive to California and I got about $10 of gas and it's going to get me there. And you live in Cleveland. Not going to fly. Not going to work, right? So we have to have some expectations that need to be set. It's not the clients. If you're a client, if you're on the opposite end of the table with me, it's not you. You don't know what you don't know. It's on the agent, the advisor, to communicate that to you and say, okay, all right, James, all right, Kim, that's a great. Look, if that's what you're able to and willing to do, and that's how you want to get started, let's talk about what that looks like, how we need to structure your policy in regards to your funding, and how we need to use or not use your policy moving forward in the sense of playing with it. We need to set and forget it. Are there any strategies that can come later down the road? We got to let it build for a while. You have these conversations. Right. So that is number one, the number one thing I hear, because people get on a webinar with me and they get on, the consultation and man, they ready to go. And I love that. I love it because, man, who doesn't want that? But come on. All right. If you're an agent and you're watching me, if I'm pissing you off, good. Because that means that you need to reevaluate how you're communicating the expectations of someone getting an IUL. If they're talking about, I'm building wealth, man, by 15 years, and you put in 120, not working. All right. So second point. All right. And so in IULs, there is a feature, a living benefit feature, where you can extract funds from your cash value either in a loan or withdrawal, right? Most people talk about loans and they say, I hear this all the time. Yeah, I mean, I want an IUL. I'm like, awesome. Why? And they'll say all these other things, and then this comes up. Well, shoot, if I can take loans off my policy, I heard you don't have to pay it back. Okay, before I address that, let's talk about the mentality of that statement. Okay, probably not the healthiest in regards to financial stewardship with an IUL. Okay, if your reason to get an IUL is to extract the funds that you put in, cash value, whatever, in a loan, because you don't technically have to pay it back, meaning there's no bill collector calling you, telling you, hey, your bill's overdue, nothing like that, right? You don't technically have to, but in a way you do have to in order to keep your policy in force, because it can lapse if you're not stewarding or understand amounts and different things, blah, blah, blah. There are other stipulations that come with the loans. If you're not aware of that, you can implode the policy, it can lapse and blow up on you, okay? So there's that misconception or that thought about, well, I want an IUL because I heard you don't have to pay it back. I want that kind of freedom. Well, it's not a freedom thing. It's more of it's a feature. It's how should I say? It's a privilege, if you will, to be able to have access in a loan from the company's reserves, leveraging the collateral in your death benefit, right? And having access to the cash that's in your policy for a period of time or whatever. And then if you want to continue to do that in the future, yeah, you do have to put it back. You can't just keep taking money out and just act like it's just going to keep giving and giving and giving, and like there's just money growing in it by osmosis, and you just keep extracting. Now, and if you're going to do that, that's later on down the line. That's maybe on a max funded IUL, right? Where you put that money in as max to the gills, and that's a whole nother strategy, But for most people, everyday people, that's not the conversation. Okay. So definitely think about that. Ask questions about it. Hit me up or ask a professional about that loan feature. If you're interested in IUL, yes, you can take it out. And as long as you have the collateral, you have the money in there, there's certain percentages you want to consider. You don't want to go too high. You want to make sure there's enough to keep your policy in force. You want to make sure that you have a plan on putting it back in some period of time, so that way you can leverage that resource and that tool again. All right. Hope that makes sense. And then here's the third one. Finally, the third one. This is interesting because, I'll get people that join webinars and they'll want to chat it up and whatever. And then there's that one person that comes in and says, Mr. Grimes, yeah, my name is such and such. And this all sounds like a hack to me. Okay, great. And literally that's my response. Okay. My response is, okay, great. But here's the leverage that I have if I am going to, combat that. Is it a hack because it's new to you? Is it a hack because it sounds too good to be true, when maybe the truth is we don't know all the details about it? And I'm speaking to agents and customers. Maybe it's not a hack. Maybe it's you don't know enough. I would think it's a hack if I didn't know enough. That's fair, to be fair about it. Like if I was a customer or consumer, or if I wasn't, if I'm being an agent, if I don't know enough about how it works, the intricacies of it, and how to build one properly, if I didn't understand the IRS code 72E, 7702, 101A, the tax citations, TAMRA, TEFRA, and DEFRA, if you don't understand how those tax citations and the codes that the IRS put into place and how we're teaching people how to leverage the codes that they wrote, I didn't write them. I'm just pointing to them and saying, hey, look there. I'm going to teach you how to play the game within the codes that they wrote. It's all legit. It's not a hack. They wrote it for people who know about it to leverage it. So that's where I lead and tell people, hey, we're teaching you the IRS codes and how to leverage it with this policy. These codes are about permanent life insurance policies like an IUL or whole life, traditional whole life. They're about the rules and regulations, the provisions, the boundaries, if you will, on why these policies can be tax advantaged. Okay. And are tax advantaged typically, depending on the design. In most cases, they are. Okay. Sometimes not, depending on if that's a part of the strategy. Yes, agent, I said that. Sometimes it's a part of the strategy. Okay. That's a whole nother conversation. All right. So, but my point is that an IUL, okay, is not a hack. Is it for everyone? No. I will say it. No, it is not. It is for long-term people. It's for people who are looking down the road a little bit. It's for those who are looking to fund and be a little aggressive on it and to leverage and to play the game the right way, right? It is not to leverage the codes and the design of a policy and then say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and play hoodopoly, and I'm gonna get these loans and not pay it back, and because I can do that. No, we're not doing that, right? And I'm real clear about telling clients we're not doing that. And I've actually walked away from people. If that's just like, you know what? Hey, I'm probably not the guy for you. We're not the firm for you, and that's okay. But hey, you know what? Good luck to you. God bless you. I hope you find what you need, and keep it moving. All right. But I will tell you, overall, an IUL is not a hack. Okay. The reasons why it works is not because it's a hack or a loophole or something that somebody on YouTube found out, or this guy Mondo in the black hat figured out, and now he's telling everybody. No, all I'm doing is pointing over there, like all these other phenomenal advisors and life insurance agents who are selling IULs that do it the right way. I'm leveraging and teaching people how to leverage the codes the way they do. No different. So what's my overall point? If you want to get from, I think this is a hack, to, man, this is legit. If you want to make that transition, you need to find an advisor and an agent who understands the citations and understands these codes, understands how to properly build an IUL for the proper strategy with your funding and with your intent. If all those things aren't in play, I would run from that agent. I'm not even kidding. So with that said, those are the top 3 things that I hear all the time. All right, the first one, let's recap. Any amount of funding will build wealth. Okay, that's a misconception. We got to be careful with that. Also, the second one, I don't have to pay loans back. That's why I want an IUL. Woo, time out. Park, pump the brakes. Park. No. Wrong reason to get one. And then thirdly, IUL, man, it sounds like a hack, man. I don't know, bro. Like, well, just because it's new doesn't mean it's new to you. I'm sorry, let me back that up. Because it's new to you doesn't mean it's bad. Let me rephrase that. I totally messed that up. So just because it's new to you doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's new to you, all right? Hey, at some point, it was new to me. And how I figured out more about it is that I dug in. I asked questions and did research. And not with pessimism laced in there as I'm looking for information. I went in looking for information to be empowered, to be enlightened, and to be educated on the truth of why these things exist and why they operate the way they do. So then my brain, I would kind of, like most of us, sometimes we lean a little bit to the, yeah, right, it's too good. But because I did my due diligence, I'm like, you know what? I see it now. I see what people are doing. This is legit, 100%. So if you have questions about that, definitely contact us, reach out. Mondo, make sure, my name's Mondo, Safe Money Playbook. We're definitely here to help you, man. Hey, you guys have a fantastic day. I love you, appreciate you. Share your thoughts, comments, reach out, email, blow a smoke signal, call me. I don't care. I would love to hear from you. All right, y'all be good. Take care. See ya.